Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So first up today, we've shared it before, but it's trending again. And in case you're new, if you were ever in the area and you want to check out this vintage Tesla charger, it's in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania, I believe at an ice cream shop called the Inside Scoop. Here's another quick one. I believe this feature's been around since the summer, but this is the first time I've seen a picture of it where it says strong winds forecasted from the south. This was back when Tesla improved the range estimate to include things like the wind, but it's nice to see. And one more unrelated photo from Joe Tetmeyer on Twitter. This one, of course, Giga Austin in the dark, but with some new exterior lighting, definitely sticking with the Cybertruck aesthetic. Next up, of course, we're going to talk about Tesla lowering prices in China, but we've been talking about this now for the last few weeks, so really it should come as no surprise. More importantly, this should not be the biggest headline when it comes to Tesla, especially from a long-term perspective. We'll get to what the real news story should be in a minute. That's not to say that these price cuts are not important, it's just that I think there's a much bigger storyline that happened over the weekend that not nearly as many people are talking about. But before we get there, here are the current prices for Tesla in the Chinese market. These are all before subsidies. Just be careful if you go to the Tesla China configurator. The vehicles that are eligible for the subsidies are actually listed after the subsidy has been included, thus reducing the price. These numbers you're seeing on my chart are without the subsidy. First, if you look at the percent change since the beginning of this year, you'll see that mostly the prices are unchanged, so this price cut is really just reversing previous price increases. We've been talking about it for months now. Tesla has many different demand levers it can pull, and this is one of them. So on average across the board, Tesla has reduced prices in China between 5 and 10% depending on the model. In US dollars, it's been between $2,000 and $6,500. But most models have been reduced by around $2,500 US dollars. And now Tesla China has two models that will qualify for the subsidies over there. The Model Y rear wheel drive and the Model 3 rear wheel drive, both under the 300,000 yuan threshold. So those two vehicles will actually be cheaper by these amounts. Whether it's a private or a non-private subsidy, the amount is different, but here is the US dollar equivalent between $1,000 and $1,500. Converting the China prices into US dollars, as you can see in this table, results in anywhere from a 23 to a 34% difference, meaning the cars in China when compared to the cars in the United States are around 30% cheaper in China. It's been like that for a while, and I not too long ago made a video about the competition in China when it comes to the EV market is just much more robust than it's been so far in the United States, meaning Tesla has to be more competitive. And importantly, if you go to the Tesla China configurator, you'll see these subsidies are to be terminated December 31st of this year, meaning Q4 is the last opportunity for Chinese consumers to take advantage of the subsidy. With the lower prices, we should see a higher level of demand, which of course all plays into Elon saying that Q4 should be epic. Naturally, most of the headlines on this news look something like this, but if you actually read the article, you find something interesting. Tesla told Reuters it was adjusting prices in line with costs. Capacity utilization at Shanghai has improved, the supply chain remains stable, and this all leads to lower costs. The translation is that Tesla could actually maintain its margins despite these price cuts because the costs continue to go down. It seems like most people are just stuck on focusing on the margin impact right now, and not enough people are considering the other side of the coin, which is Tesla's unit volume should be significantly higher at these lower prices. If you go to Elon's liked tweets, this one from Gary Black makes the cut. He says Tesla should get a 40,000 unit increase in Q4, and the net Q4 earnings per share effect should be 5 cents positive. Elon liked this. And you better believe it's worth sharing that Ray for Tesla said new orders online temporarily crashed the Tesla site. Of course, this could be myriad reasons, but it's worth sharing. The last thing I'll say, many people think Tesla stock is down today because of this news. Sure, maybe it's a part of it, but Tesla has cut the prices in China before and the stock didn't really move like that. So is Elon selling is now becoming the speculation. It's possible, but we'll just wait and see if we get a Form 4 later this week. So simply, lower prices means more demand for Tesla in China. We know that input costs are coming down, shipping costs are coming down, production efficiencies, economies of scale are increasing. all meaning, again, Tesla could maintain its margin levels even despite these price cuts. It's not out of the question. And pair that with Tesla bringing back the referral program first now in Tesla China, and it seems pretty interesting. This referral program in China should go from October 24th this year to December 31st, 2023. It's set to be a points-based system, so you earn reward points that you can then cash in for different things. They will also have quarterly and annual sweepstakes where people can win prizes. I won't read all of them, but here are some of the prizes for the first quarter raffle next year. One is a 24-month right to FSD. And here are some of the prizes for Tesla's annual sweepstakes. Won't read all of them, but the first one is a VIP factory tour of Giga Shanghai with 2 family members. Apparently, 5 of these will be available. So now we wait and see the effect of these changes. Again, there is an economic slowdown taking place in China. There's a ton of competition, so this really should not come as a surprise, and we'll get to the more important headline. Let's go over one more relevant point for good measure. China NEV Q3 complaints per 10,000 units sold, the top models. Of course, you want a lower number. At the top of this list in Q3, we see BYD, the company that many people are pointing to saying, hey, Tesla has this competition, but remember, BYD isn't really profitable without subsidies, and apparently their reliability is not the best. Then if you scroll all the way down to the end of this list where we see the leaders, remember you want a lower number, the Tesla Model Y 2.2 and the Tesla Model 3 2.7, both leading the way. So for every 10,000 units sold of the Model 3 and the Model Y, Tesla getting around 2 complaints, compared to the BYD Han and the Dolphin up around 38. Before we move on, here's a good take from RBC Capital. They said, we are a bit less concerned than bears and believe this can help stimulate demand in China. To frame the financial impact, we estimate Tesla sold around 126,000 vehicles in China in the third quarter, just over 500,000 annualized. So around $2,000 per vehicle. This impact on the price cuts means around $1 billion in annualized profit impact, meaning if everything else stays the same, assuming 30% incremental margins on volume, Tesla would need to see around a 15% increase in units from that annualized level of 500,000 to offset the pricing profit impact on those units. So basically what RBC is saying, if Tesla can increase its deliveries by at least 15% in terms of unit volume, it could reduce any margin pressure from the lower prices. So there you have it on the price cuts and the incentives. But let's shift gears to what I think is a huge narrative, this exclusive article from Reuters, basically completely changing the paradigm of the automotive industry as we've known it now for almost 100 years. But first, we have to set the stage. Don't forget, Toyota used to own around a 1.5% stake in Tesla, bought it around 2010, sold it sometime around 2016 completely. The two companies were making electric RAV4s together, and Elon had said that the partnership was historic, and Toyota was a company he had long admired. Fast forward and we're back to today. Toyota said they're looking to improve its existing EV platform or potentially build a new EV architecture. Toyota has suspended work on some of the 30 EV projects announced in December. These revamp considerations could slow the rollout of EVs already on the drawing board. We know Toyota already has been very slow to market with EVs. Here's where it gets good. Engineers and executives at Toyota are realizing that Toyota is losing the factory cost war to Tesla on EVs. Toyota's chief competitive officer has designated this new business revolution, a term used for major changes including a revamp of its development and production processes. What's driving this effort? EVs faster than anticipated takeoff and rapid fire adoptions of cutting-edge innovation by Tesla and others. If Toyota starts afresh and starts to build EVs from the ground up from scratch, this could take roughly 5 years to introduce new models. Toyota is working with suppliers and considering factory innovations to bring costs down like Tesla's Gigapress. They're looking to improve EV's thermal management, something they said Tesla has already mobilized. And back around 10 years ago when Toyota and Tesla were working together, listen to what Toyota execs said. Tesla's technology was no threat. They concluded back then there wasn't much to learn. This is a perfect example where the student has become the master. Tesla was this small, humble company looking to learn from companies like Toyota. Fast forward basically a decade, now Toyota is like, oh geez, we better start learning from Tesla because they're setting the trend. And if all cars are going EV, which we think is the case, Toyota just said it's losing the factory cost war, and without a major overhaul of its EV plans, it's not going to survive. So you have some price cuts, a referral program. All right, that's cool, that's nice. But compare that to Toyota, one of the biggest auto producers on the planet, who has always done it in a cost-effective way, better than everybody else, basically saying they have to blow up its EV business model to have a chance to compete with Tesla. Seems to me this is a peek into the future beyond all of the short-term noise. Moving on, just one quick update from Tesla's 10Q that was released this morning. I have not had a chance to go through it. We'll talk about it later this week. Just this one though, on Tesla's deferred revenue, currently sits at around $2.8 billion that Tesla has yet to recognize. And they said over the next 12 months, they expect to recognize $1.09 billion of that deferred revenue, which of course will be a nice windfall. Next up, this video was trending over the weekend. I think some people think this is new footage and it's a new prototype and they're trying to decipher, some detail. Well, as far as I can tell, that is not the case, because that exact footage came from this video back from the Cyber Rodeo earlier this year. So it's definitely fun to see if you haven't already, but this footage is not new. Just wanted to clear that up. Next up, in the latest software update, now Sentry Mode and Dog Mode can be used at the same time. Sentry Mode alarms are silenced if Dog Mode and Sentry Mode are both enabled. Also, during DC fast charging, the thermal system controls have been optimized for each charging station's power capability, improving both charging and en-route battery preconditioning efficiency, faster charge times, and lower costs. Also, the media player now displays radio station logos for improved discoverability when searching favorite stations. And finally, when driver door unlock mode is enabled, long pressing the interior driver door switch will unlock all doors and the trunk. Next up, Tesla has received EPA approval for some of its 2023 model years, and we know Tesla doesn't really do model years, but when it comes to the EPA, they need to approve certain new vehicles being on the road. So here's the list: the Model S Plaid and seemingly all of the Model Y variants not yet approved by the EPA for the 2023 model year. I should point out, I'm being told all 2023 model year cars anywhere geographically do have hardware 4.0. With that said, you'll also see the Model 3 long range is on this list, so hopefully this option will be available again sometime in the coming months. Next up, just one talking point to always remember anytime somebody brings up subsidies and Elon and Tesla in a negative fashion. Elon said, "Why are you perpetuating propaganda concocted by the oil and gas industry to distract you from the $6 trillion per year of subsidies those companies receive?" Going to the link Elon shared, fossil fuel subsidies over the last 5 or 6 years have been between $5 and $6 trillion per year. Talk about a topic that should have its own video. Next up, Neuralink show and tell on November 30th. On Twitter, Elon also said super home efficient HVAC with HEPA filters will happen one day. Next up, from Mexico Daily Post, we have Nuevo Leon getting some headlines. Apparently, Elon was seen here meeting with some of the leaders. These leaders have expressed interest in Nuevo Leon receiving investment from Tesla and even opening a plant of the automotive firm in the state. You may recall back in June, Tesla received its own lane at the US-Mexico border. This area is also already home to several of Tesla's suppliers. So I don't want to speculate too much, but Elon's definitely scheming up something with that drink in hand. Here we have Marketing Ploy 101 by GMC saying that in less than 24 hours, the EV Edition 1 of the Sierra Denali is sold out without telling us how many pre-orders were placed. With a fully refundable $100 deposit to do so, it could have been 5,000 or 50,000 units, but we don't know. Next up, some European Union leaders are now considering actually paying for the Starlink service in Ukraine, but these discussions are still in early stages. When it comes to more Starlink support being sent to Iran, Elon said yes. Next, from Drive Tesla Canada, Rivian is halting production of both the camp kitchen and the tonneau cover, basically to make some changes. So any reservation holders that ordered the camp kitchen are going to have that removed from its order until Rivian starts production up again after they make some tweaks. And this afternoon, Jim Farley said the F-150 Lightning with the extended range battery can now do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.